I need some water. I haven't had any in 3 days. When I visited my son's house, their 6-year-old son, my grandson, pleaded with me. Moreover, he was chained up and unable to move. Shocked, I tried to free him, but it was impossible. Panicking, I reached for my phone to call my son, but somehow I felt it was better not to. Maybe it's best to keep this from my son for now. So I contacted my husband instead. However, when my husband Tom rushed over, he approached our grandson with a furious expression. "Damn it! Stop messing around." Unbelievably, he started yelling at our grandson, who was completely exhausted. It was not until some time after this that the truth was revealed. I am Emily, a 60-year-old homemaker. My husband Tom and I have been married for 35 years. Our son, James, got married when he was 28, and that's when our grandson Alex was born. Alex was just 3 years old when James's wife passed away in an accident. James, being busy with work and unable to raise Alex alone, brought him to live with us. Tom and I took care of Alex. Yet James never seemed grateful, taking it for granted. Alex is crying and it's annoying. "I'm busy right now, James, can you take care of him?" "What? I'm letting you take care of him, you should do something about it." Perhaps because James was an only child, he tended to push responsibilities onto others when things got tough. Tom and I were aware of this, so we kept encouraging him to be more conscientious as a father. However, James would go out alone on his days off, never playing with Alex. "Why don't you take Alex out somewhere occasionally? He's just a drag when I go out with him. He's still little." "That's how it is. I'll consider it when Alex can keep up with me." Reluctantly, Tom and I made sure Alex wasn't lonely by taking him to parks and amusement parks. Yet watching Alex grow up was the greatest joy for me, despite our busy but happy days. Moreover, as Alex began to speak, he would say, "I love you, Grandma," with a lovely smile, which made him the light of my life. Things changed when Alex was 5 years old. James brought home his new girlfriend. "Amy has my baby, so we're getting married." To my surprise, she was already 5 months pregnant. She had previously had a miscarriage, so they waited until it was safe to tell us. "Am I going to be a big brother?" "Yes, you are." "Are you happy?" "Yes." "That's awesome." Despite the sudden news, seeing Alex happy about having a mom made me smile naturally. "So after we get married, we want to live in a big house, just the 4 of us. Please let us live in a house that Dad isn't using." Tom and I had been living in an apartment since James moved out, but we still owned our previous house. We had just renovated it to rent out. If it would make James and Alex happy, Tom agreed without hesitation. I couldn't help but feel sad about living away from Alex, but I reminded myself that having a new mother and creating a family were more important. It's just an hour's drive away, and I can visit anytime. That's what I thought, but after James and Amy registered their marriage, Amy's attitude seemed to subtly change. It was when I found a nice blue jacket in a department store that would look great on Alex and called Amy. "It's been a while since I've seen Alex, so can I go give it to him?" "No way, it's bothersome if you come over to our house like this." "Oh, you're not feeling well, are you? Are you still having morning sickness? Can I help you with anything? You're so pesky. Seriously, you're annoying." "What?" I was shocked, thinking I had misheard, when suddenly the call was cut off. I tried to contact them several times afterward because I was worried about Alex. But each time they made up some excuse to prevent me from visiting. Moreover, her attitude gradually became more irritable. I wonder if Amy dislikes me. Don't expect a mother-in-law to be welcomed. One day, I discussed it with my husband Tom, but he was quite blunt in response. "It looks like I won't be able to see Alex anymore." A wave of sadness came over me, but perhaps she was just being nervous about her first childbirth. So, I refrained from contacting them for a while. 2 months later, I heard that Amy had given birth to a baby girl. However, due to hospital policy to prevent infections, we couldn't visit. "Then, please let me meet the baby once you're discharged from the hospital." I was waiting for that day, but weeks went by without any contact. So, I decided to call my son. I haven't seen Alex for a long time, and I'd really like to see the newborn baby. I'm at work right now. I'm busy, so please don't call me. Thus, my son James hardly listened to what I had to say. Still feeling gloomy, I decided to assume that Amy was still unsettled, right after giving birth. But 3 months after she gave birth, I still hadn't seen my grandchildren. Concerned, I decided to visit their house. Surely, taking care of Alex and the newborn must be tough, so I prepared several dishes. Just to be cautious, I sent an email before going, but received no reply. I got no reply, but I wonder if it's okay to go. If not, I guess I'll just leave the dishes at the door and leave. I really wanted to see Alex and the newborn. I just couldn't suppress that feeling. Hesitantly, I pressed the doorbell, and Amy appeared at the door. Amy, congratulations on the baby. I really wanted to see my grandkids, so I came over. What's this? She clearly looked displeased and glared at me. And I brought some dishes. It's hard to do chores when you have small kids, right? As I tried to hand her the bag, she deliberately dropped it. The dishes in the Tupperware scattered on the ground. This is really bothering me. She then stepped on the scattered dishes. It's awful that you would do this. As I tried to stop her, she sneered, "This is what happens when you do things on your own. There's no need to waste food like that. It's such a waste. Oh no. You've messed up the entryway. You should clean it up." Stunned, I watched as she slammed the door in my face. I don't recall doing anything to be disliked this much. Unable to just leave it, I picked up the trampled dishes with feelings of frustration and returned home. That night, James called me. "Don't mess with us at all from now on." "Why would you say that? We're not comfortable with you coming to my house without being invited. And I heard that you were sarcastic towards Amy." Shocked, I explained that it was a misunderstanding and told him about today's events. There was absolutely no need to stomp on the food like that. "Mom, you probably dropped it yourself and are just blaming others." That's not true. No matter how much I explained, he wouldn't believe me. I knew that no matter how much I said to James, it was useless, so I asked him to at least let me see Alex. "Mom, it's Alex who says he doesn't want to see you." That must be a lie. Why? It's obvious, now that he has a mom. Shocked, I couldn't respond anymore, and the call just faded away, leaving an empty silence. Half a year later, since it was Alex's 6th birthday, I desperately wanted to at least deliver his gift, so I went to their house alone. I might be turned away again, but I hope they at least accept the gift. When I arrived, there was no car parked in the driveway. Maybe they all went out for Alex's birthday. Thinking it not good to just leave the present at the door, I rang the bell as a precaution. Then, I thought I heard some noise inside. "Is anyone there?" As I called out, I heard a metallic sound, as if responding. This piqued my curiosity, so I walked around to the back of the house and tried to peek inside. However, all the curtains were closed, and I couldn't see anything. I thought I heard something. Then, near the kitchen, which didn't have curtains over the frosted glass, I sensed movement. As I leaned in to look, I could vaguely make out someone lying on the floor. Could it be that someone has fallen over? But the door was locked. At that moment, I remembered that I still had a key to the house, as it was originally where we lived, and I had kept the key on my key holder. Slowly, I unlocked the door and entered, hearing faint groaning sounds. "Who's there? Are you okay?" Cautiously, I walked towards the sound and found my emaciated Alex, collapsed in a corner of the kitchen. "Alex. What happened?" Noticing my voice, he slowly opened his eyes and looked at me. "I need some water. I haven't had any in 3 days." His faint voice and vacant eyes were haunting, and he was chained up, unable to move. Why is this happening? I tried to unlock the chain, but it was secured with a padlock and I couldn't do anything about it. I filled a cup with water and helped him drink. Where are Mom and Dad? They're not here. I thought about calling my son immediately, but seeing Alex's severely thin appearance made me feel that something was wrong. And I felt it was best not to let him know anything at this time. Instead, I called Tom. "Honey, Alex is in trouble. Come here quickly." Tom was nearby having a meal with a friend, arrived at the house in about 20 minutes. Alex, Grandpa is here now, everything will be all right. I was relieved, thinking that everything would be okay now, but then he approached Alex with a look of fury. Damn it. Don't mess around. I was shocked to see him start yelling at our listless grandson. What are you saying, Tom? I urged him to help remove the chains, but he only touched them briefly before inexplicably stopping. Why? Don't give up, do something. I felt frustrated at his puzzling behavior and scolded him, but he just left without saying anything. Grandpa hates me too. That's not true at all, Alex. He was just shocked. You are precious to us. But Daddy and Mommy said they don't need me. Tears welled up in his eyes, and as he looked so sad, I stroked his cheek. Alex was shivering with fever, probably because he had been lying on the cold floor, so I wrapped him in my coat and hugged him. I can't leave him like this. I was on my phone, making 911 call when my husband returned with a stranger. The man had a large shears-like tool in his hand, with which he cut off my grandson's chain. Alex, sorry about earlier. That was never meant for you. His harsh words were actually directed at James and Amy. He said it came out of his mouth because he couldn't forgive them for doing such a terrible thing to a little boy. When Tom apologized while looking into Alex's eyes, he nodded in understanding. Soon, the ambulance arrived, and Alex was taken to the hospital. At the hospital, he was diagnosed with malnutrition. It seemed that he had caught a cold due to the cold. In the hospital bed, his emaciated body was connected to many tubes. Seeing his condition was so heartbreaking that it brought tears to my eyes. Thanks to IV treatment, he gradually began to regain his strength and shared what had happened. We found out the son and his wife were behind it. Apparently, they had chained him up to prevent him from going anywhere and had then left the house, not returning for days. They're better off without me. Alex told us everything while crying. No, that's not true. You are very important to your grandma and grandpa. Tom and I gently stroked his hair and held his small hand. I will never forgive them for what they did to little Alex. Then the man who helped rescue Alex with Tom came to visit the hospital room. He was a friend of Tom, and he offered to help us. As we got more details from Alex, the full picture gradually became clearer. A few days later, I pretended to know nothing and called my son. I bought a birthday present for Alex, so I'm coming over to deliver it now. What? That's too sudden. Alex has a cold, so can we do this another time? Oh, is that so? Well, I'll take care of him. Besides, I've already arrived at your house. I knew they were supposed to return home that day, because I had seen it noted on the calendar on the wall. James was still saying something over the phone, but I pretended not to hear and hung up. While I waited at the front door, James's car arrived shortly, and my son and Amy hurriedly got out. Where have you been if Alex has a cold? We went to buy medicine. The house is a bit messy, so wait here. They went inside and closed the front door. I peeked inside their car and saw 2 large suitcases. I knew it was a trip. I wonder if they think this lie will work. I entered the house quietly, and inside, they were frantically searching for something. And James was still holding the chain in his hand. What's that? I pointed to it, pretending to be ignorant. Whoa, you scared me. How did you get in my house even though I locked the door? Because this house belongs to your father. That's why I kept the duplicate key. Taken aback by my response, he was speechless, but I ignored his reaction and pulled out a document from my bag and handed it to him. It was Alex's medical report from the hospital. Alex is currently hospitalized. What? I told them how I had found Alex chained up in the house 4 days ago and had taken him to the hospital. They made an awkward face for a moment and clicked their tongues in irritation. How could you do something so terrible? Shut up. How we treat our own kids is none of your business. James showed no sign of remorse, apparently defiant. Alex has become a burden to our family. Without him, we 3 could live happily. My son told me that since the birth of his child with Amy, he began to find it annoying and disturbing to have Alex in his life. Furthermore, he explained that they had initially chained Alex as a punishment for misbehaving. He would quiet down. So it became their method of control. This escalated over time, and whenever they felt irritated, they would chain him up. That's why he's gotten so weak. I'm already sick and tired of him, and if he had died while we were on our trip, we would have just made a reasonable excuse to everyone around us and put it all behind us. I couldn't help but glare at them as they spat at me. How brutal. You just broke into our house and did unnecessary things to us. Even Amy yelled at me, infuriated. This annoying old hag. We don't need that boy. How can you do this to us? Thinking that this was my own son and his wife, it made me feel a deep sense of shame and frustration. How could they treat our dear Alex like this? I snapped back without thinking. I understand how you feel. Then I will take care of Alex. Really? Are you sure? That's great. Yes, of course. Hearing my response, they looked quite happy with a grin and a creepy smile on their faces. We should have handed him over to you sooner. Their sheer selfishness made me tremble with anger, and I wanted to slap them both. But I restrained myself. You really mean to let me adopt Alex, right? They nodded eagerly, thrilled in a cheer. As I opened the front door, a man suddenly appeared, causing them to look utterly shocked. This was the man who had helped cut Alex's chains. Who's this guy? This is David, a friend of Tom's. He's a lawyer. What? A lawyer? What does he want with me? It seemed they couldn't grasp the situation, so I calmly explained. He said that depriving Alex of his freedom and leaving him alone without food was a pretty serious crime. David nodded vigorously, and James's face turned pale. You threatening me? David had already heard the story from Alex and had begun preparations. We have photos as evidence, and the hospital has already given a medical report. The police have been notified. Suddenly, they began to panic and looked at each other. But there's no proof we did it. Attempting to find a way out, I pulled a voice recorder from my pocket. I forgot to mention, I've recorded all our conversations. James froze for a moment, but still was not giving up. But it's so crazy to get the police involved. He is right. And I still have a baby daughter to take care of. It's true. Don't you feel sorry for the kid? Despite having treated Alex so horribly, they now tried to use their children to escape the situation, which made me feel nauseous. No worries. I've already discussed everything with Amy's parents. Suspecting James and Amy had not taken their baby with them on their trip, I called Amy's parents. They confirmed that they were indeed caring for their granddaughter at their home. It's not possible. You're lying. Amy took out her phone and started to make a call, but no matter how she tried, the call was not connecting and she was getting frustrated. Your parents were very upset. They said they were going to cut you off, so maybe they refused to receive your calls. What do we do now? They were different just moments ago, now seemed lost and anxious. But don't worry. Your parents will take care of your baby. After all, you're going to be arrested by the police. Then James looked at me, trying to appease me with his eyes. What's the point of doing this to me, your own son, and having all this fun? I heard that you told your own son to die. Alex told me. James and Amy, unable to muster any excuses, just mumbled incoherently. Alex has been deeply hurt by this. I will never forgive you both. We won't do it again. Ignoring their pleas, I started calling the police. Seeing this, they tried to run away. Stop right there. You're not getting away with this. However, Tom was waiting at the door and managed to catch them both. It's low of you to ambush us here, Dad. Shut up, you fool. Tom's cheeks trembled with rage as he glared at the couple. With the help of David, they restrained them there and then. That's right. We are severing ties with you forever. It must be very cold to spend time in jail. We'll never do something like this again. We'll take care of Alex. Please, just let us go this time. The answer is no. Feel the cold and thoroughly reflect on what you've done. Despite their desperate plea to avoid arrest, there was no way I could forgive them. Subsequently, the police took them into custody. Due to the severity of their actions, they were charged with serious offenses. David arranged for their modest savings to be used as child support for the kids. Furthermore, we sold the house they lived in to ensure they couldn't return. With no money and no place to go, and cut off even by Amy's parents, their future looked bleak. I hope they fully experienced the consequences of their actions. Fortunately, children are resilient, and Alex recovered quickly and was discharged from the hospital. We formally adopted him as our child. My husband and I will raise him with lots of love and affection, so that he will feel happy every day. Now, I think I'll make Alex's favorite fried chicken today. He's sure to be delighted.